Is up, everybody? This is King with my Wednesday night chats with dads. Oh man. So I'm back in Kansas. This is awesome. My network might be a little bit spotty, but it is what it is. Tonight I've got a guy on who I met when me and him were both stationed overseas. Uh, this guy is a hilarious young dude. I say young. I'm only a couple of years older than he is, but when I bring him on camera, he's gonna look like a 20-year-old out here in these streets. But Cassidy, I've known me and him did the same job when we were both in the Air Force, and I asked him to come on to my chats with dads and chop it up with me. So I'm going to bring him on. What's up, babyface?
Oh, what's up? Hey, man, I can't grow facial hair. We were just talking about that. I try. It's not good. Oh, we got Chelsea here. Chelsea in the chats here.
Yep. Hey, man, it's good to see you, man. It's been a while since we really chopped it up vocally, because we maintain a social media presence, if you will. But it's been a while since we just kind of had a little, uh, audio, conversation, if you will.
Yeah, it has been. I mean, it's hard nowadays. The older you get, the busier you get, the more kids you get. I can't have any more kids. I mean, we might talk about that later, but uh, can't have any time, man. When you have a 8-month-old and two other girls on top of that. But yes, Chelsea, the mullet is gone. I had to cut it for my older sister's wedding. She begged and pleaded that I cut it, so I was the nicer brother and did it for her because I was in the wedding.
Hey man, I don't go to weddings anymore, or at least I say that. But if I do, and I had a mullet, man, the mullet stand.
The funny thing is, there was another guy. He just pinned his up. He was in the wedding too, and I was like, man, I don't know if I could have because mine was permed, so it was curly, and I don't know if I could have contained it.
A permed mullet, man. I saw that
Yeah.
picture and cracked up laughing. Now, if you show up at a place and somebody has a mullet, you know it's going to be a party. But two people that has a mullet at a party, man, that'll shut the whole state down, bro.
Oh man, we might be in Arkansas or something. Then Kentucky, I don't know.
Might hear a couple of yee yee.
Oh man, the wedding actually was a blast. So I can't wait to get the video. Actually, I gave apparently a great speech. I wasn't even supposed to give a speech. I wasn't the best man, but it was my sister, so I did. So.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Well, hey, man. So when me and you were both stationed overseas, you were a single dude, right? You ain't had no girlfriend out there, no kids. When me and you was
Absolutely not.
stationed overseas. And to give me a timeline, I was in Okinawa from 2006 to 2009. When did you get there, and when did you leave?
I got there on July 2nd, 2008, left July 3rd, and then July 4th because our plane broke. July 4th of 2011. So I was there for about a year, I think, while you were there. I think you went to Kansas afterwards.
I did. Yep.
Yeah, so I was there for 3 years. I extended after my initial 2 years. Literally only stayed because of the people, the guys, obviously, all the young guys that we ran with, or I ran with, I guess. And obviously, you were there for some of the epic stories that we have.
Yes, sir.
Training mode tomorrow. Be there. That was the same night that Ron almost drowned in the ocean when he fell backwards in his ocean chair there. So next to the fire, that was one of those nights. I think we were on Tits Beach then.
Tits
Pretty
Beach.
confident.
Yeah, man. Beach, man. That was a nice little spot away from, a residential housing and things like that, man. They could just be on the beach. We would camp on the beach, in some good weather with good people, man. It was always a good time. Chelsea said that the people were the best, and I totally agree with her. That's what made Okinawa fun, because when I got there, as a see, I got there when I was 20, 21 or 20. No. I was older than that. I was 23-ish. And I was told that there was this thing called a curfew. And I'm like, a what?
Yeah.
Curfew? I had been deployed, you know, traveled to several other countries by then, and I get there as a E4 in the Air Force. And for the people that don't know, that's a senior airman, and a brand new, first lieutenant that just graduated pilot school doesn't get a curfew. That's never done anything operationally. I actually challenged my commander about that. It was like, I'm really getting a curfew. This makes
Was
no
it
damn sense to me.
Colonel Steele?
It was before Colonel Steele. I forget his name. I like Colonel Steele.
No, I got
Um,
there when it's Colonel Steele, and then Colonel Lehman took over.
Colonel Lehman. Yep, yep. Nah, it was the person prior to uh Colonel
I
Steele,
didn't.
man.
Yeah, I didn't know who the
I shook
person
my
was.
head like you could see the disappointment in my face when he said curfew. But Colonel Camo Chapman, that was his name. Thank you. What's up, Chappie, man? Thanks for joining the chat.
Oh man, that's a
Um,
name I haven't heard in a long time. Chapman was actually one of the first guys that I saw. Ballmer took me over to his room, and I think we crushed the Miller Lights that night, or Millers, not Miller Light. I'm
I
not sure. One of the two. That was a long time ago.
I I don't know if you being a Cowboys fan and if he being a Philadelphia
Eagle.
Eagles fan can be in the same chat.
I think we figured that out a long time ago. Actually, I got my website Coast to Coast Cowboys hat on right now. So um,
There you go. Marketing, baby. Marketing.
exactly. No, but the people were great. I love those 3 years, man. I hated the island after about a year and a half. I mean, you can only take so much of an island. The weather was awesome and stuff, but an island's an island, and that after a while, you keep, just do the same shit over. Uh,
Hmm.
Obviously, we loved drinking back then, so that was the main thing to do. I mean, I still love drinking. It's just hard to recover the older you get. Can't crush a lot of beers. Balmer, I'm actually going down to Balmer's house or up to Balmer's house to Spokane. I live 2 hours from Fairchild, and we're actually going to a comedy show on Friday with his mom and his aunt, so it should be good. So
Nice.
me and Balmer have actually hung out a lot since I got out in 2012 because he's been at Spokane. He went Okinawa, Spokane, back to Okinawa, back to Spokane. So
All right. Good deal, man. That should be a good time, man. I'd love to be man around that group, man. Dave's a pretty good dude, man. He's a solid guy.
yeah, he still is, man. Still hilarious. But he crushes Coors Light now. So he moved on from the Miller Light. He has a kegerator and it's always filled with just Coors Light. He won't put anything else on
Yeah, buddy.
it.
So you get through Okinawa, you didn't, get locked down or anything like that, man, and you get out to Washington. You're still enlisted, man, at this point. Was there a catalyst or anything while you were young that happened that kind of changed your course, so to speak?
Absolutely. I was planning on doing the 20 as a boom operator. I'm sure you've talked to the people out there who don't know what it is initially about what you did, and I loved it. And then you'd be crazy not to love it. But I did in October of 2011. I was in downtown Cheney, which is a small ass town outside of Spokane. The only thing that's there is the college, Eastern Washington, where Cooper Cup actually went to college. Just in case you guys want to know that. But got a DUI. Um,
Mm,
they were doing the DODS rollback in 2012, and since I got in trouble in the wrong time, they told me I was gonna not be able to finish out my 6-year contract. So I did 5 years, and then I just packed my shit and went 2 hours back southeast here to the Tri Cities. Um, I got all my benefits. It was an honorable discharge. They were actually really cool about it, except for the first shirt at the time made my life live in hell. I was in a readiness flight at the time. So that was, and then I had my first and second shoulder surgeries right after the DUI. So I used that to my full advantage and never went to work because I knew I was getting out. They told us actually the day before Thanksgiving, me and actually my buddy E, that we were both getting out March 31st of 2012. So after that, man, I drank so much and did not care anymore. I didn't know what I was gonna do. I was lost. I was only 20, turning 23, I think. because I was about to turn 19 when I got to Okinawa. So I was fresh out of high school. I was 17 when I graduated high school, 17 when I joined the Air Force. So I didn't know what I was going to do. I knew I had to stay with my mom at first because I was not one of the smart guys. I didn't save up a bunch of money in Okinawa like Bruce Wayne Freed or anything, who probably saved like 50 grand or so. I don't know. That guy was smart with his money. We were
Yeah,
not.
he was.
I put good time over financial ease there. So I started going to March 31st. I got out. April 1st, I was at school, college, getting my AA. I started the very next day. Lived with my mom for 4 months. Couldn't do it anymore because she has a new husband. When I was in Okinawa, she got married to a gentleman I didn't know. He's still married to her. So me and him get along now, not then. Uh, didn't know what I was going to do. I wanted to become a nurse at first. Did not like taking all the science classes. I was like, this is some BS. So I was like, you know what? And then one of my college professors says, well, hey, you're actually a really good educator and you're good at teaching. Have you ever thought about becoming a teacher? And I was like, yeah, but the pay, the myth that teachers don't get paid a lot. They get underpaid, but they don't, it's not like back in the day where teachers were getting paid 17, 18 grand. There's now you start out at 45, I believe, in the state of Washington. It's not great, but it's not bad. And then you just move up. And then once you get your master's, which I'm almost done with, kicks you in a whole new bracket. So got that. I met my wife before I got out, but she wouldn't date me because I was in the military still. So funny story. I don't know where you want to go first, but if we're going to get to how I met her, we'll get there in a minute. But
Oh
now I'm
yeah.
a teacher. But so I'm a teacher, summer break. So I worked at a bank, so I had banking hours. Now I have teacher hours. It's good and it's bad. I love middle school teaching. So it was my call, man. I have a great time.
So before I ask you about how you met your wife, were you a teacher before you met her? During?
No. So
Okay.
she met me when I was still prime, what you knew in Okinawa. I was having a great time, partying all the time. Didn't have any kids of my own yet. Um, didn't really want to settle down at the time. I mean, have a girlfriend, yeah, but settling down, not necessarily. But I was actually working when she met me. I was in the military, got out. I did a bunch of stuff, but mainly I was in banking for 3 years. I was a call center rep for a year and a half, and then I was an education outreach specialist in marketing for another year and a half. Then I finished my degree in 2017, started substitute teaching. February 5th of 2019, I started teaching full time.
Okay. Okay. All right. So
And
so
she's been a hairdresser the entire time I've known her. She's 36. I'm 32 next month, and she's been a hairdresser since she was like 19.
okay, okay. So there's a little bit
Yeah,
there's a little bit of an age gap there.
about
And
5 years almost.
so that's interesting to me because that's an age gap in the opposite direction typically, right?
Typically, yeah.
Yeah. How did y'all meet?
So knowing me, and I was out all the time. There's a place down here, downtown Kennewick, historic downtown Kennewick. There used to be like 5 or 6 popular bars. One was actually a nightclub. So I was always going out. Like Fridays, we'd hit one area of the town. Saturdays, the next town, an area of the towns. Thursdays, we always went to ladies' night. So Thursday through Saturday, always out. Sundays, probably just hanging out, drinking somewhere. But I was at this club, and through a mutual friend who's her age, uh, I was drinking AMFs. If anybody doesn't know what AMFs are, they're pretty much just Long Island's with some sweeter juice in it, I guess. Adios motherfucker is what it's called.
Okay.
And they come in like what looks like a vase, like a flower vase. No joke. And I would crush like 4 to 6 of those a night, just getting dumb. But I saw her, and to a mutual friend, I go, "That's your friend, right?" And she's like, "Cassidy," and I'm like, "I'm just asking." And she's like, and she's like, "She's one of the good girls, Cassidy." And she's like, "And I know how you are." And I said, "What do you mean how I am?" And I'll be the first to admit, when I was younger, I did not take other people's feelings into consideration all the time if I wasn't super close with you. If I was super close with you, if I had been drinking too much, I didn't necessarily always listen. I felt bad later maybe. And it's something I had to do is grow up a lot. But with her, I was like, okay, didn't listen to her. Went over, grabbed Whitney's my wife's name. And I was like, hey, do you want to dance? And so, and I'm not tooting my own horn here, but I am a mini Magic Mike without the muscles and the great looks, but I could dance really
Oh,
well. And
okay.
I don't like to do it, but when I start drinking, it comes out. And so I started dancing with her. I pinned her up against the wall type thing. And she was like, I can't do this. And she walks off. And she was like, that dude, she told me later, she's like, I thought you were either gay or you were just a player. And I had to stay away either way. So that's how we first met. But then we would both frequent because she just had started going out again because she was in a long-term relationship. And that's why my stepdaughter, who I met when she was 4, is when I started dating Whitney. And she's 13 now. So she had just started coming back out because it had been about a year since she broke up with her ex. And she was like, I'm ready to go back out, do some things. So she was there pretty often, not every week, but I'd run into her frequently. So I kept asking her on a date for like 6 months. She kept saying no, kept saying no. And obviously I was like, all right, played it off like it was all cool. But I was like, man, I'm going to get this girl to go out with me. And then one day she just told me, called me up and she's like, hey, she's like, me and my friend Candace, who actually cuts my hair now for free because she's an actual barber licensed. My wife isn't, but she does do guy haircuts. But I still get it for free. So that's the important part. So she was like, we're going to Applebee's. Do you want to come? And I was honest. That was the time where I didn't have a lot of extra money and I was paying for my new truck and all this. And I was like, oh man, I was like, I don't have any money until like 2 days from now. And she was like, well, I'll buy you a drink. And I was like, all right. I said, I'll
Hold,
come. And that's really where it started.
hold on. I do. So I have to cut in here because that to me is kind of a key indicator of somebody really likes you. But also, too, you started out honest. You know what I'm saying? As far as like, hey, look, I'm broke.
Yeah. Yeah, it really took until I started working at the bank for me to, because I mean, I got the VA benefits, which wasn't a bunch, it was like 1,200 a month, plus my part-time jobs. Then when I started busting my ass working 2 jobs and going to school full-time at night, I was working 2 part-time jobs, then a full-time job, going to get my bachelor's at night. So I'd get off work and go straight to class for 3 hours a night, Monday through Thursday. I've always had the work ethic. That's never been the problem. It was always the financial decision making when I was younger. If I was gonna keep it, save it, or go have a great time, and I chose a great time every time.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I mean, and I don't regret it at all. I'm doing great now. Even though in between jobs, it's not a big deal. Own a house, trailer, 2 cars. Well, one hers, one mine. So I mean, it's worked out really well. I mean, it started off rough, and I didn't really calm down when we first met as much, a little bit, but there was a lot of immature Cassidy still until later, which I think we might get to, but it took a while.
All right. So you met Whitney. Y'all went out to Applebee's. Y'all had a drink. Y'all chopped it up. How was that kind of first date? You know, how did it
So
go? How did it end?
so her friend was there. So I think it was more of like, hey, just in case this doesn't work out well, she had an exit strategy, which is smart on her part.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we didn't really date then. That was the beginning of the summer. And then it kind of fell off for a little bit. And we texted all of this. But it wasn't until finally around my birthday that year where she was like, yeah, we're official. Because it was one of those birthdays, I think it was it's my 24th birthday, maybe. Yeah, my 24th birthday. I got like a limo and all that and a bunch of my friends, and we all went out. And that's when it was official. But we always stayed in contact until right before my birthday. We started seeing each other more. But her big thing was I was too young because I was 22 when she met me, and she was what, so 27 almost. Uh, so it was always too young. oh, this and that. He kind of parties too much. But she kept, and it was one of those things where it was like the old school pong game, just back and forth, back the ball bouncing back and forth. She would hit something, slowly come over. I would hit it back, and I wasn't ready necessarily, but I kept trying. Um, and then, because for a long time I was lost. When I got forced to get out of the military, I was lost. I was very depressed about it. And it probably took me a good 2 years to be like, okay, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be fine. So, and she really helped with that. She's helped a lot with the mentality because I was diagnosed with anxiety, depression in the military. So and mental health has come a long ways in the last 5 years, at least talking about it. So she's really helped a lot with that because I used to have anxiety attacks. Even right when she met me, I've gone to the hospital more times than I can count, and she helped me get through a lot of that, and it's been under control for about 2-3 years now. So but yeah, she's stuck through a lot. I told her a long time ago, I said, if you were going to leave, you would have left a long time ago, and if I was going to leave, I would have left a long time ago, for my own reasons. We're almost we're 9, almost 10 years in now of knowing each other, dating. So um I told her, I said, this is it, man. I said, we're got like 30 more years, maybe you'll live long. I said, I might die young. It's okay. Um, no, it's just a joke, but yeah, no, it's been great. I think like all marriages and relationships, it started out really rough. Obviously the honeymoon phase was really easy because you don't know each other as much. You hide a lot of stuff, but as soon as we got into it, she was like, whoa, like I think got myself into a deep one, but she really does care. And now we've reversed because I used to be the like romantic and the sensitive one, and like touchy feely, and she's more of that now. And as I've gotten older, and I live with 4 women because I have 3 girls and her, I'm kind of just, yeah, yeah, I'm kind
Oh,
of wore
oh,
wore out, um, tired. Yeah, there's a lot of estrogen in this house.
man. So, Cassidy, man, dude, I have to ask you. Um, she's a couple of years older. Um, when did you find out that she had a kid, and how did that make you feel knowing that?
So this is the thing. I've always wanted kids. My brother's autistic, Fragile X syndrome, schizophrenic, bipolar, OCD. Name's Dallas after the Cowboys because my dad's smart. No, I knew I was wanted a family. It didn't bother me a lot. It never really has because in the Tri Cities, it's probably the same thing. Chelsea might be able to tell you. Eastern Washington, the cities are growing in the last 5-10 years, but before it was always like farm towns or the main part of town, but everybody went to the same places. So everybody knew everybody, and the only thing to do was to drink, go to the river, drink, have sex, have kids. Um, Not on purpose most of the time, but Eastern Washington is hot. It's 103 degrees here today. I think it's 102 degrees out still. It's like 6 o'clock. We're not Seattle over here. I'll tell you that. No rain here, but yes, I didn't bother me. Me and Shy, I get along with little kids really well. I love little kids. I helped raise my brother since I was 10 because I'm 10 years older than him. And my parents, when they split, and then they worked night shifts most of the time. My dad's always worked graveyards. My mom worked the swing shift till 11 p.m. So I did a lot before I actually had my own kids, and it never bothered me that they had kids. Yeah, was it hard because she would be like, "Hey, I can't go out because of my daughter," because her biological dad wasn't really in the picture at first, and not till recently as she's gotten older. So it was really hard sometimes for me to be like, when I was like, "Well, I'm going out, so if you're not, I'll be home later, or I'll come over later." Um, she had to deal with a lot of, and you guys have seen it, the incoherent, I'm not going to listen, Cassidy. There's that one drink and then anything people tell me, and I don't do it maybe once in a blue moon. I get like that now, but um, back then it was all the time. So it didn't bother me, but she did really well, I think, being a single mom pretty much and dealing with a man child. So
who who did you have in the picture between getting out of the military and asking Whitney to marry you that you would have considered? You know what? That's a bad assumption. My bad. Did you have a mentor or somebody kind of that you could talk to that kind of guided you as you were, growing up?
oh, so my mom was always there for those questions or concerns. She would shoot straight. She would tell me in a loving way, but she would tell me the truth. My dad, until recently, probably when he turned 50, he's 55 now, maybe 56. No, I think he's 55. But he partied a lot too and didn't settle down. He now lives in Kentucky and with his side of the family that, his cousins, his uncles, aunts, sister. So I went to my mom, but actually people that we know, a person we know, at least a lot of people in the chat, Senior Steinkraus, me and him are very close considering that we were only stationed together for about 3 years, but he's always wrote me letters of recommendation. Mark Austin and Katie Austin actually offered for me to live with them when I was getting out because they were stationed in Spokane at the time. But I felt like a huge burden and I said no because I felt bad, but they did offer me a place to stay. So, I did have a support group. My mom was the biggest. Senior has always been there. He even wrote a letter of character for me before they decided I was getting out. Because I've always been a great worker and like deep down, always been a great person. It's just some of the decisions I've made have come back and you got to deal with those repercussions. And as I've gotten older, I wouldn't necessarily change anything, maybe handle some things differently. But I mean, it made me who I am today. I think that getting out of the military was supposed to happen for me. Not that I wanted to, and I would have loved to do 20 because I would be at what, 14, 15 right now, like everybody else. Master Sergeant Balmer still his loving tech sergeant self because he does not give a shit about promoting. The dude knows the job almost better than anybody that I know. He just does not care about the promotion. He's like, I want to be good at my job. I don't want to do all the extra bullshit. And he is. But he's always been there for me. Dave's always been one of those guys. Everybody knows that. Him and my buddy Travis, who is my best friend here in the Tri-Cities. Balmer's probably my best friend outside of the Tri-Cities. And he's always shot it straight. And there was one time the only time I ever crossed Balmer, and it wasn't on purpose. That dude forgave me in a heartbeat. And as soon as I came out and I was like, dude, I got to tell you some shit. Told him, he's pissed off for a little bit, but he's like, all right. He's always been there. He's always been a great friend. So he helped me through it. Me and Laxton were close. So, I mean, I had bits and pieces of people who could keep me level, but my mom was always the anchor when I first got out and between me and Whitney, since that was the original question.
Got you. All right, man. I'm gonna tell you right now. When I saw that you were getting married and had gotten married, I was like, "Wait,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
What?"
No, that's the thing about Whitney is the complete opposite of me. She's not loud. She's not outgoing. Once you get to know her, she is, but she's not boisterous. She hardly ever got like past a certain level of drinking. She likes to have fun drinking, but she wasn't like us back in the day when she first met me. Obviously, she was 5 years older almost, so she had kind of been there, done that. She kind of went back in for a little bit before our 4-year-old and after Cheyenne was old enough to, to not feel bad for leaving too many times, or because we went to like Watershed. If you don't know what Watershed is, it's a big country music festival, 3 days at the Gorge, which is a beautiful amphitheater. It's actually been ranked top of the world multiple times for outdoor amphitheaters. And it's all the big names in country. And it's just a big yeehaw, let's get drunk. Think of like a Woodstock country version. And it's a 3-day concerts, but it's actually a 4-day event because you can camp before half a day, after half a day. So yeah, it is coming up. We're not going this year, but we went 3 years in a row. So she did for a while. get back to that. Now, again, we have Presley and Ellie now on top of Cheyenne. So 4.5 and 8, almost 9 months old. The two youngest. But yeah, when I got married, a lot of people were surprised that it was that young because I got married October 4th of 2014.
All right, all right.
But
Now,
she was my opposite. It was a lot of the I need. Even though we broke up a couple times in the very beginning, I was like, it's just something was like she literally leveled me out to a degree. So because I hung out with a lot of girls and friends that were a lot like me, and it was just to the moon every time, man. It was just like we're drinking and then we're off, for like 2-3 days. We'll come back when we have to go to work or something. But yeah, she definitely brought me down. So when I got married, a lot of people were surprised, but a lot of the people who knew Whitney knew why. So
all right, man. So after y'all get married, um, how did the conversation go as far as having any more kids? Was that something that y'all talked about early?
yeah,
And how comfortable was it?
it was always comfortable. So the plan was always to have uh, two more. I wanted two more kids. Um, so we talked about it. We discussed it. We never had like a time frame, but the thing is, her biological clock is ahead of mine. Guys literally don't really have one, in my opinion. You could be Hugh Hefner, 80, 90 years old, hooking up with a 20, 30-year-old chick. You can get her pregnant as long as you're there. Like, he would have died, I guess, before the kid was raised, but technically you can have kids still. But when you're a woman, there's that time clock. You can't really go past mid 30s and be comfortable most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you got a lot of money. Like Janet Jackson, I think, had a kid at 40 or 50 or something like that. But I don't make millions of dollars to pay for that kind of stuff. So we talked. The first one, easy. Presley, we didn't plan it. It just happened. She surprised me with the pregnancy test. I was elated. Typical guy, did not. She kept trying to make me see it on the bathroom counter after I got home from work or something one night, and I just couldn't see it. And she kept going, "Can you get me this out of the bathroom? Can you grab this? Hey!" And she was like and I was getting agitated. I was like, "Just tell me everything you want while I'm in here." Like, I've in and out of the bathroom like 5 times. And then finally I was like looking down and like caught it out of the corner of my eye, and I was like, I thought it was a joke. I was like, "Are you kidding right now?" Like, and I was stoked. I was ready. And so I had Presley, or she had Presley, and I was there at 27, and probably the proudest day of my life. And it's different. I've had this conversation with everybody. Whitney, I love all three of my kids, my stepdaughter included. Me and her butt heads a lot because she's 13. I'm the authority guy. And she doesn't like authority. She's 13. But the first time I held a kid that was my blood in my hands, man, it changed a lot of thinking. Like, dude, you got to get the shit that's not in line put together and tied away. Like, you have to be better. Like, not as a person, just situation. Like, my job was okay, but it wasn't what I wanted. I needed to finish my degree. And I did. By the time she was one, I did, I think. I used to take her to college classes with me at night if my wife was at work, just sitting in the back with the car seat. She was a good baby, so it wasn't a problem. So it really is where my mindset really changed, in the whole marriage and family life was more when I was 27. So there was that years from when I was 24, 23, whatever, to 27, where it was still really rough on the maturity, I should say, level. And no, I'm not crying. I jacked my eye up a year and a half ago, and it just waters randomly.
Oh,
So
no, that's
yeah,
okay.
so I'm just letting you guys know. That's why I keep wiping my eye. It's driving me nuts. It just does it. And the doctor said I'm cool. Just I think I messed up a tear duct or something.
Got you. You know
But
what?
yeah,
You got to use that to get out of certain
yeah,
situations.
just start crying. Man, it's so sad. Uh, unless it's a movie about like babies or puppies or old people dying or getting taken advantage of, then I'll probably cry for real. So, but yeah,
Bro,
no,
I don't know what it is. Anytime like I see a movie where like something happens to a kid, bro, that shit hits
yeah.
different.
So, funny thing, real quick. Me and Balmer were watching Marley and Me back in Okinawa back when it first came out. I think it was like
Yeah.
09, 2010. And then, oh man, I forgot her last name. But Tanya, remember, she's a crew chief. Pretty eyes, black chick. I forgot her last name. But she walked in on us, fucking just crying on Dave's bed. Two guys just fucking sitting on Balmer's bed, just, oh man, no, we're not crying. What are you talking about? So, but yeah, no, it's been a really good since. I mean, obviously the typical marriage stuff, kid stuff, but since I was about 27, 28, it's been way better than when the start. The start was tough.
Okay, so you had no say in the first kid's name, obviously. That was well before you. But
Yeah.
Presley, how did y'all come up with the name Presley?
Uh, Elvis. So Presley, June after June Carter, and then Cook. So Presley June Cook. That's definitely a Whitney liked names, so it was really pretty easy for us to come up with names for the first kid or our first kid together. And then we had Elowen. We just call her Ellie most of the time. So Elowen was really hard, really, really hard. To come up with a name. We weren't agreeing on anything. I didn't like Elwyn that much at first. So I was like, if you pick the first name, I told her, so if you get to pick the first name, I get to pick the middle name. She said, okay. And so it's Elwyn Ray after Stevie Ray Vaughan, who's my favorite guitarist of all time, who's one of the greatest guitarists of all time. So Elwyn Ray, but we put an E on it. And then when I have my mullet, I just like to call her Ellie Ray when I had it because it reminded me of Billy Ray Cyrus. So, I'm very music orientated. If you want me to learn anything, put it in a song, reference some music, I'll probably learn it a little bit faster. Um, but yeah, no. So that's where the names came from. The first, like Presley, easy, and both kids actually like Elvis, so works out. Because I listen to everything from the Beatles and Elvis to DMX to the Eagles, Motley Crue. I mean, I listen to everything.
Man, I don't think that I ever knew that you were that big into music, bro. I never
No,
knew
a
that.
lot of it wasn't until the later years in Okinawa. I actually got Balmer into music. He likes music but didn't love it. So I kept promising him because he loves Kid Rock. I mean, who I love Kid Rock, but Dave loves Kid Rock too. And I promised him. It was like 2009. I was like, dude, your first concert is going to be Kid Rock, and it's going to be with me. Fast forward to 2012, 2013, he's back in the States as well. Kid Rock at Quest Casino in Spokane, Pepsi Outdoor Series, Dave's first concert. So it happened. So yeah,
Nice.
yeah, it
Very
was,
nice.
yeah. But Dave is Uncle Dave. He's like my brother, and I would kill somebody for that guy probably. Same with a lot of the other guys, Laxinen. Um, he's back in Michigan. I talk to Jake and Balmer the most, but we call it the Cadena OG chat on Facebook Messenger. And so we all stay in touch pretty often. And seniors in there, we like to make the old man feel young sometimes. So I don't know.
Nice, man. That's a that's good. Like that's kind of how I am, right? Like I have a good core group of folks that I can talk to about anything. We'll rag on each other too. I
Yeah,
mean, we will rag on each other hard. You know what I'm saying?
done
But we do it out of love. And then, you know what I'm saying, at the same time, like Ron, you know what I'm saying? Like if there's questions about,
it.
cooking, he has a daughter, who's, I said older, whatnot. So I'll, call and ask him certain questions. Like, hey man, like I'm trying to kind of get this figured out. Have any advice or feedback? You know what I'm saying? And like, there's other people too that I can count on, right? To just, kind of bounce things off of because there's no rule book to living or life. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
no,
Everybody's out here learning, everybody's out here living, everybody's journey is their own. But I think that there are some things like having conversations like this, which is why I started this, man. I wanted to have the feeling of, how guys talk in the barbershop, you know what I'm saying? How folks
Yeah.
talk on the patio with, what I'm saying, having a beer, what I'm saying, just kind of, what I'm saying, chopping it up, man. Um, and
Oh
and
man, it's been a minute. I mean, I think we all used to rag on Ron, Mr. Hollywood,
.com.
SeanJohn.com. And then once
Man,
you
I'm gonna
become
sit.
a boom operator, you just like, dude, that was a horrible contact. Why'd they use that one? Um, he's gonna. I hope he watches this and he's like, that motherfucker, dude. Like,
Man,
of
I'm gonna
course.
send it to him. I'm going to send it to him. He's not on Facebook, but he knows about my YouTube channel. So,
Oh man, yeah, I love Ron. He was one of my. He actually took me on my first TDY to Hawaii. Um, for night heavies, and we broke for 5 days.
oh,
And that's
you
yeah,
broke in
we broke.
Hawaii, huh?
And then Eddie Kwan was our co-pilot, and when he was a lieutenant, or maybe I don't think he was a captain yet. He might have been. But man, there's some stories from that trip that Ron and Eddie just. I think I was 19. I'm pretty confident I was just 19 years old. And I got into senior frogs and stuff. So that was a that was that was a good one. And I picked up a chick that was like in her 40s. So that was good.
Hey,
Yeah.
dude. So you have all girls in your house, from your wife to Presley, Elowin, and Cheyenne.
Cheyenne.
Cheyenne. Okay.
Yeah.
In my mind, that's chaos, man. What's a day in the life of the Cook household?
So nobody in my house is a morning person other than me and my youngest, who's obviously just about to be 9 months old. Um, Constant yelling, constant fighting. So Presley and Cheyenne are 8 years apart, and you could swear they're a year or two apart because they fight worse than any siblings I've ever seen in my entire life. Um, it's a lot of my patience being pushed to the limit because I've been a stay-at-home dad pretty much since 2019 in February because I worked from home. I worked for an online company, and I'm finally applying to schools in a brick and mortar in the districts around here because I just can't do it anymore. I love my girls. I tell my wife all the time, I say, I love you guys, but y'all a bunch of bitches. So, like, so, and that's lovingly. She knows there's nights where I'm like, I gotta go hang out with the guys. I gotta go to different Dave. There's another Dave. So the Daves do know each other. We're in my fantasy league together for like 5-7 years now. But I'm like, I gotta go to Dave's or my buddy Travis's house. I'm like, I gotta go do something. I play softball on Mondays now. We go to trivia nights now. We've been starting to go on Thursdays and Wednesdays. So I just got to every now and then, even if it's for an hour or two, just be like, I got to get out of this house. But it's a lot of, I learned how to do hair because it's all
Nice,
girls.
nice, man. I still haven't mastered that one.
Yeah, I mean, you ain't got any to do, so it's okay. I mean, right here. So, um, no, a lot of just wearing my heart on my sleeve type thing. I mean, other than the teenager and I who we do butt heads, I just got to wait till she's older, I guess, now to get through that. But the other two are dad's girls. They do obviously love their mom. It's not like a one or the other, but I've been home for 2 years straight. So it's been really like my eyes open to a lot of things uh, on the women's side of the world and their views. Coming from me, and I've never really tried to disrespect females. I'm sure I've pissed off a dozen or so in my lifetime, but my wife actually she's into the astrology and the signs and zodiac signs or whatever. Um, Both of my youngest, they're redhead Scorpios, so take that for what you will. They do have the attitude of redheaded Scorpios, so very independent, very feisty. They're loud like me because Whitney's not loud at all. She's pretty tempered, but my wife knows that she knew from the very beginning. She was one of the very first girls I was honest with. I said, look, I said, I'm not going to waste any time. I said, I was a man hoe back in the day. A lot of people in the Tri-Cities know me, not all good reasons. You don't ask me how many people I slept with or if I slept with that girl unless you want to hear the real answer. I was pretty honest with her. And I said, it's not to brag. It's just say, hey, like, let's throwing it out there right now because it's came back and bite me in the ass every other time that I didn't. So I changed my mindset on that one. And then now that we went to Vegas one time, she went to this fortune teller, I guess, tarot cards. And it said that your wife or your husband has always been surrounded by women and will always be surrounded by women. And now I have all girls. And this was before we had the other two. So it's kind of came true. And just looking at it from the side of, dude, if guys did half of the shit that I've pulled in my life, said I've been to jail, go back to jail for my girls, and not to jail be long term, you know, like, but I would to do anything for them. That's the thing. And I know you have do you Cassie still, or she go by her full name?
Castle.
Castle. Okay, so I was just double checking. I didn't know. I've seen her grow up over the years on like Instagram, and she's huge compared to what I remember.
Yeah,
type
she was
thing.
she was a baby, man. When I left Okinawa, she was about to turn 2, you know, and now she'll be 14 next Wednesday.
See, time flies, man. So just having multiple girls in a household, and it just changes your mindset a lot. Because I grew up with a sister. I have 2 sisters. Didn't meet my oldest sister until I was 19. She's my half sister. But one guy, one girl, and me. So more guys than girls. And now it's just outnumbered. And I got a vasectomy 2 weeks after Ellie was born. I took my sample back. They tested it. They're all dead. I don't got any live swimmers. So everybody's like,
why'd you get it?
Oh, geez, so we planned it because my wife. So the thing about Ellie, my wife literally, we had talked about a second kid because my wife had really bad postpartum after Presley. So we didn't know if we were going to have another one. And then we talked about it, and she's like, yeah, I do. I miss it. She's like, I'm through obviously it took about 1.5 years or so, 2 years. We had Ellie when Presley was 3.5. So good gap. But finally she was like, out of nowhere, just in the kitchen, she looks at me and goes, hey, my biological time clock's clicking, ticking down. So are we going to do this or not? Like, we had talked about it, but I just never actively thought about it. And literally I go, yeah. And she's like, well, today's my last day of ovulation. And a lot of girls will know. Okay, I get that. Maybe guys don't know about it, but if they do, you know, they know. So we literally went upstairs one time, pregnant. Like, pregnant. Serious, swear to God, dude. It was one time pregnant. And then we talked about it, and she's like, well, I don't want to get fixed because of more of the complications for women. I'm not one of those guys that's like, fuck that. I'm the man. I'm never getting fixed. I don't care. I'm like,
same here.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't care.
I got it done.
Yeah, and so I did it, but after having all the girls in the house at the time, even though Ellie was a baby, I was like, I can't do it. I can't do another one. It's going to be a girl. I know it. And I said, and I can't do it. And everybody's like, you need to try for your boy. And I'm like, dude, it's going to be a girl. I said, all the karma is going to come back, and it's going to be a girl. So I was like, I'm not doing it. So, yeah, there's just no way. And so I was like, let's do it.
How painful was it for you? Were you surprised at the procedure? Because, so without getting too graphic, like, I didn't know that when you show up, like, there's a nurse that'll be there, and they'll like shave your area, even if you show up shaved.
Yeah, so just the area, because then they put iodine or whatever on it. So I am a Manscaper lawnmower 3.0 guy.
Same here.
But so uh, I was kind of just how quick it was, and that I'd done many procedures because I had that heart issue when I was in Okinawa, and I went to San Diego Naval Hospital, so I had my artery, surgery through my artery in my leg, and
Oh
it was a bunch
yeah,
of
I
female.
forgot
Yeah,
about that.
yeah. So I was used to things like that. Been with enough girls where I was like, this is kind of the same thing, but she's gonna cut. Well, she's not going to. The doctor is, and he was an old dude, and so I was like, I made the joke. I was like, just have a steady hand. That's all I need. All right. So um, I wasn't surprised too much until about a day or two after. I was one of the guys, it didn't swell up a bunch, but it was black and blue, like plums, black and blue, and it was sore for a week. My brother-in-law from my oldest sister, he got it done and then got it reversed, and both times
Mm.
he's been able to go to work that day, the next day, no pain. They make fun of me, and I'm like, dude, I don't care. Like, just like when people make fun of the Air Force, I'm like, just because you guys are fucking jealous that you didn't go into the Air Force and have a better job and better facility, that's not my problem. And I told him that too. I was like, just because you have balls of steel, like, dude, that's like, I was like, it sucks. Like, I'm not, I'd tell guys, like, yeah, it was worth it. It's easier on the guy. It's an in and out procedure in like 40 minutes to an hour. It's not even that, like, I went at the end of the day at like 4:30 at night. I was out by like 5:15, 5:30. So yeah, no, I just couldn't do it anymore. I was like, there's no way I can have another girl. I said, I will leave in a loony bin if there's another girl in this house. So I was like, there's just no way. Yeah, it's too much. I love it. There are times, I'm not gonna lie, where I'm like, I need to just go to the store. I'm gonna go to the store. I'm gonna look at stuff. I'll probably be in the sports section or the video game section. Just I gotta go. I gotta do something away from this house for a little bit.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Hey, we are coming up on the hour, bro, and that time goes by fast, man. It
It
always does.
Yeah, it's easy, man. I mean, it's kind of like if you're with your buddy, especially when you haven't been around a long time, it just goes, man. Because there's so much, uh, like Balmer and all of us, when we get together with any of them, and probably gonna see Jake soon too. But they just bought a house. He has 2 kids now too, so you might want to ask him.
Bet.
Yeah, but oh man, we talk and reminisce all the time because as much as you love your families and stuff, man, those younger years, especially there, were just so good. Like it was so fun. People are like, "Oh, I was in a frat." I was like, "I was in a badass frat." Okay, it was called the Air Force, and Okinawa was the best time of my life. For a single dude back then. Now it would be different. Everybody who's gone back says it's different. It's not the same, especially when you're older. They don't go out as much like we all used to. They don't do, animals on the beach. They don't do tits beach. So, man, I'm glad we all got to do it. It's just cool that you get to come back and do something like this. I mean, we've all been through a lot of stuff in the last 14 years or so. So,
Yo, saying that out loud, it's like, damn, man, it has
yeah,
been that long.
yeah, it's been a while.
Um, I was telling Chelsea, man, whenever Larry calls it, I plan on going up there to his retirement ceremony.
Oh yeah, it's
Man,
got to be sometime soon.
if there's an opportunity to link up, man, shit, man, we need to try to make that happen.
Yeah, every time someone flies in, Tyler Duckett came down for a while. I came up to Spokane. We actually, when I was in California, I visited Duckett when he was stationed at March. I think it was March. I'm not sure. Something over there. But yeah, man, anywhere I'm somewhere, I try, man. Just let us know or let them know, and I'll try to come up. I have seen Larry and Chelsea once when they first got here. We haven't been back up. Unfortunately, it's just been crazy. But it's probably happens soon. Like I'm going up there Friday, so maybe then I'm not sure. But Dave's mom's there, and I've talked to her a million times, so I'm excited.
All right. I got 2 questions that I wrote down for you, man. I would
Um,
like for you to answer them in
oh,
one word and one word only, man. These are softball questions, man. These will be, I think they'll be pretty easy for
Okay.
you. If you could have another kid, boy or girl, what would the name be?
My wife doesn't have to agree. Is that it? Is that
Nope.
she doesn't have to agree?
Nope.
Oh man. Well, only because it's popping in my head, it was a top choice if it was going to be a boy. Um, Sterling or Archer from Sterling Archer, the show. I don't know why I love Sterling or Archer, and my name's Cassidy, so the unisex or girl name doesn't bother me at all.
All right. If your daughters grow up to be Eagles fans, how would that make you feel? One
Uh,
word. One word.
I'm just gonna say, you know, when your parents say, "I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed."
Uh-huh.
That's it, disappointed. Because my 13-year-old is a Bears fan for some reason. I don't know.
Man. Chicago. All right.
Yeah, I don't know why. I told her, I said a boy at school must have liked them, and she just stuck with it.
Wacko. Chelsea said they'll be
No,
Seahawks fans. Now we ain't having
so,
that.
no, they're not even in my division. But because I grew up here, and since 2012, when they actually got good and were worth a damn, uh, they drive me nuts, dude. I can't stand Seahawks fans anymore. And I'm a Mariners fan because I grew up watching Griffey and A Rod and all them. So, but I hate the Seahawks. I went to Seahawks Cowboys in 2018 and we lost. We both sucked that game, but we just sucked more. And my wife doesn't let me live it down. So, but we won the
Nice.
playoff game. We eliminated them in the playoffs in 2019. So, or 2018, one of the two. Oh yeah, 2018, later that year. So,
Yep. Hmm.
yeah,
All right. Hey, I'm going to close out the show. Stand by one. Don't go anywhere.
yeah,
I'm gonna close out the show and then I will chop it up, man, with you here
yeah.
real quick. All right. So that was Cassidy. Cassidy, like I said, 14 years ago. God, that's a long time. Um, the guy's grown up. Like I want to say the kid. Like I'm only 4 years older than he is. Me and his wife are probably about the same age. But he's always been a good dude. That I could tell in the short time span that I knew him. We've stayed in contact, and one of the things that he talked about that I like to highlight is he was young. He was young. He had to understand how he was feeling about some things. He got a diagnosis that helped him, be able to kind of understand how to kind of move forward. And he also, from what I could tell, doesn't really hide a lot of who he is, because you'll meet people and folks will show you a shell of who they are. I probably do. You know what I'm saying? But with Cassidy, like what you see is what you get. You know what I'm saying? And to me, I like that. I like to be able to meet somebody and they show you who they are, and you can either like them or not. You know what I'm saying? But with Cassidy, I always knew that the guy was going to be a good dude. He's grown up. We're all still growing up, and I was glad to have him on my show. So that is my Wednesday night chats with dads. To everybody who commented, to my cousin Chelsea, and everybody that watched, thanks for tuning in. And I will be back here next week. Peace.